Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
In Houston Station, we're ready for the event.
North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences. This is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Brian Mallow at the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences. We have an auditorium full of kids that are very anxious to speak with you. How do you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear. How do you hear me?
We're very excited that we have a North Carolina native to speak with. All right, yes. Show us that you're in zero gravity.
It's exciting to talk to you. I can't wait.
Well, we have a bunch of students here with questions, and I'm going to let the first one begin.
My name is Emmanuel Harris. I'm in 6th grade at Morse Grade Magnet Middle School, and my question was, what would happen if you got hurt on the International Space Station?
Well, here we are on the space station, and yeah, that could happen. It's happened before. And so we always have 2 astronauts. Of all the astronauts on board here, there's 6 of us. We always have 2 that are medically trained to take care of usually first aid stuff, but they can even take care of some more complicated things. I happen to be a doctor, but, you know, I could get sick or hurt too. So there's someone to take care of me if I need it. We have medical kits designed by doctors and nurses on the ground, and we have an ambulance. It's our spaceship that brought us here. If we had to, we could hop into that and be home pretty quick. We hope that doesn't happen, and everybody's been happy and healthy so far.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Natalie Richards, a 9th grader from Wake Young Women's Leadership Academy, and my question is, what is an example of a daily challenge you face that is surprising?
You know, everything in space is surprising, and I think that's what's surprising. Every time, every day, you think you've got it nailed, you think you know what you're doing, something comes up that's different. It's just very complicated. We have complicated machines, and living in zero gravity is complicated. And so everybody on the ground helps us get work done, and we help each other out up here because we're always surprised by the problems we face. And I think that's what's most surprising.
Station, this is Houston ACR. Please turn off the microphone at the end of each answer.
Okay. And you notice there's a slight delay, so that's what we're waiting for.
My name is Kate Healy, and I go to Cathedral School. My question is, how do you keep track of the days when you are up there?
You know, that's a great question because we have 16 sunrises and sunsets a day. So we have a hard time keeping track of the days up here. So what we do is we have a timeline, a calendar on our computers. It's on almost every computer up here. And we're able to look at that and every day just take a glance at it and tell what day of the week we're at. Things are so busy up here, the time flies, and otherwise we'd never be able to keep track of the days up here. It's a good question.
My name is Sophia Kuderi, and I go to Cathedral School in 3rd grade. My question is, what do you like best about your training?
I think what I like best about the training is how much there is to do, and it's a lot of variety, a lot of things to do. I learned Russian, get to fly jets, you work underwater so that you can learn how to do spacewalks. And one of the best things is you get to talk to and work with all the scientists that run these experiments and design these experiments up here. So we get to talk with some very smart people who love what they do. And if you're a curious person and you like lots of things, then it's an enormous amount of fun being able to train to fly in space.
Thank you.
My name
name is James, and my question is, what is your favorite part? What is your favorite piece about being an astronaut?
The best part about being an astronaut, there are a lot of fun things about it. The launches, the landing, the zero gravity, and looking out the window. But I have to say, when I'm done with this job and I'm looking back on having been an astronaut, the people that I got to work with are probably some of the best people in the world to work with. They're smart, and they love what they do, and they're all very friendly. We're all very excited about what we're doing here in space. So that's going to be the most memorable thing, is the people I get a chance to work with, not only my crewmates, but everybody on the ground as well.
Don't you love how when he lets go of the microphone, it doesn't fall down?
Hello, my name is Jackson Haskell, a sixth grader at Marshburn Museum Magnet Middle School. If the sun were to have a solar flare, how would that affect the International Space Station?
Wow, it's a good question. We think about that quite a bit. It wouldn't affect the space station so much as it might affect us, because on the ground you've got the atmosphere and the Earth's magnetic field to protect you. So if it was really bad, because they're watching this, we call it the space weather, they're watching it all the time. If it was really strong, we could go to a certain part of the space station and hide out inside of where there's most of the metal and the aluminum around us to protect us. So that's probably what we'd do. It might affect the communications a little bit, but not too bad. But in this orbit, we don't worry too much about the solar flares. When we go to the moon or to Mars or to an asteroid, then that's going to be real serious once we get outside the magnetic field of the Earth. And so we'll have to think about that a lot. That's one of the problems maybe you'll be solving when we start traveling to those places.
My name is Ryan Richards. I'm in sixth grade, and I'm from Cathedral School. And my question is, what is your most memorable experience in space?
There's so many, it's hard to tell, but one I'll never forget. Again, it was with my crewmates, and on my space shuttle flight, and it's happened once on this flight as well. When you get a chance to look out the window, get a chance to take a break. We're very busy up here and don't have a lot of opportunities to look out the window, but had a chance to look out the window, and as we did an orbit over the Earth, and I was sharing it with my crewmates as we looked out there and talked about the weather and the storms that we could see. It lasted about 20 minutes, and in 20 minutes we went across the entire United States and got to see everything below us. And just the chance to relax and talk to each other about what we were seeing, that is one of the things that I'll never forget, flying in space.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Haley Smith. I'm in 9th grade, and I'm from Wake Young Women's Leadership Academy. And my question is, who inspired you to become an astronaut?
You know, there wasn't one astronaut that inspired me, but I would say all of the original astronauts, you know, the Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo astronauts, all inspired me. I read about them all. I read every biography I could. I was very fascinated about what they did, and I tried to pick out everything that they did that appealed to me and that I thought I could do. And so I started doing those things. And so I'd have to say that all of the original astronauts really inspired me quite a bit. Good question. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Sarah Roberts, and I'm a 9th grader at Wake Young Women's Leadership Academy. My question is, what advice would you give to a student like myself that is interested in following in your footsteps?
Well, I think the best advice you could give is to start right now. And you're in school right now. This is the time that you're learning how to learn. So trying to master everything that you're learning, do the best that you can. And along the way, if you haven't already, you will find one of those things that you fall in love with. And that's what you chase after, is the thing you fall in love with. Who knows what the next generation of astronauts is going to be? Certainly if it's in science, technology, engineering, or math right now, we're certainly going to need those types of astronauts that are experts in those things in the future. But so I would start right now trying to be the person you want to be, and be very curious and try to master everything you're doing in school, and you'll be able to get there one of these days.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Connor Grummer from the Wake Young Men's Leadership Academy. My question is, what is one goal you would like to achieve before you retire from being an astronaut?
Well, hopefully retirement's not a ways away, but it's probably coming up sooner than I'd like because this is a great job. What I would like to do before I retire and after this flight is done is to take everything I've learned from this flight. It's a pretty rare chance to get to fly in space, and a lot of astronauts waiting. So I want to give them the information they need and ground control the information they need so that the next space flights will be even more successful and more efficient and we can get more done. So I'll stick around for a while, and I'll be helping people learn how to fly in space if they give me a chance.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Jake Bays, and I go to Wake Young Men's Leadership Academy, and I just want to know, what is the most interesting thing you've done in space?
Boy, kind of like the other questions, it's hard to pick out one thing. Spacewalks were absolutely exciting and very interesting, but some of the science we're doing up here on this voyage right now is some of the most interesting things I've ever seen before. To see fluids and metals and particles in moving around in zero gravity, to have gravity removed from that. These are things that people are never been able to see before. And we get videos and photographs so everybody on the ground can see them. But we get astronauts get to see them live as they're happening. And that satisfies an enormous amount of curiosity. And we discover new things every day. I see things I've never seen before every day. And that's probably the most exciting thing.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Lyric Burnett. I'm a sixth grader at Morse Square Museum Magnet Middle School. And my question is, what do you do most of the time when you are on the International Space Station?
Well, we do research up here. We have a bunch of laboratories from all around the world, and we've been training to run the experiments of scientists, very smart people who have been coming up with these ideas of things we can do in space. To build, develop new technology, and to build new materials, and to figure out health problems that we never knew before. It's amazing what you can do when you remove gravity. So we spend a lot of time, most of our time, doing research. The rest of the time, we're taking care of our bodies. We're exercising. We have to eat. We have to get ready to eat. We have to clean up. On the weekends is when we clean up the space station. So we're always busy, but we like the work, and there is a little bit of time to relax as well.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm Cormac Ferguson. I go to Cathedral School. My question is, why is everything round in space?
In space. In space.
Yeah. That is a great question, because I'm not round and this microphone's not round, but if they weren't solids, if they were liquids, if the molecules weren't sticking them together so hard, they would be round. And things would be round, just like fluids are. And I'll show you here in a little bit if you'd like to see it. And that's because the effects of gravity on Earth kind of flatten everything out and kind of takes over all the other really delicate details of things like fluids and gases. So up here in space, all those little delicate forces, say surface tension in liquids, or even the little gravity forces between rocks in space, those take over. And so the rocks come together to form asteroids and then planets, and they all come in the same direction for it, so it'll be round. Or with fluids, you get surface tension making things tighten to a ball. And so that's why things are round up here. It's a great question.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Griffin Bloomquist. I'm from Cathedral School, 6th grade. Is there an air recycling system on board, or do you just have supplies delivered from Earth?
We have some nitrogen and some oxygen, which makes the air, already up here, but we don't like to use it because we don't want to run out of it. So yeah, we recycle it. Our bodies use up a little bit of the oxygen, but we have machines that take that oxygen out from what we put out from our bodies, if you know what I'm talking about, and takes out the oxygen again and dumps it back in the atmosphere. And so our bodies don't use the nitrogen too much, so we are constantly rebreathing the same air that we breathed before. And we have filters and air conditioners, so it's nice, fresh, clean air when it comes back in.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alex Sim, and I'm from Cathedral School.
I just want to know if your space suits are stiff when you're walking in space.
They are. They look nice and fluffy, but they're not, because you pressurize them. So just like a football, when it's flat, is all wobbly and you can bend it. If you pump it up with air, it's really tight. You can't bend a football. It's very hard to bend your arms and legs in a spacesuit. So they build in joints so we can move them around. But it is very tight. That's a great question.
Hi, my name is Imandi Henderson of Wake Young Women's Leadership Academy, and I'm in 9th grade. And I was wondering, can you text or make phone calls?
Yeah, we can. We can't text, but we have email, and we have phone calls. We can make phone calls, but the satellites that we bounce the signal off of satellites so that even though we're going around the world really fast, we can always be bouncing off a different satellite so we can make a phone call to one phone. So I can dial up a phone and call it as long as the satellites are lined up. And usually that's the case, but not always. And we do have email. Mission Control takes care of that for us, and several times a day they give us our email and take down the messages we've sent. And it's really very nice. It's a wonderful contact with the ground.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Yane Jones, and I attend Wake Young Women's Leadership Academy, and I'm in 9th grade, and I want to know how many pounds of personal items are you allowed to bring into space?
We're allowed 2.5 kilos. Now, that's stuff we can bring into space and bring back. We're allowed to bring more than that up here, but we're going to have to throw that away because there's just not enough room in our rocket ship to get home. So probably about 10 to 20 pounds. I've got some books and some pictures, that sort of thing. But only 2.5 kilos that I can bring up and bring back home.
Hello, my name is Wiley Eubank, and I go to Cathedral School, and I'm in 3rd grade. And I just wanted to know, how do you go to the bathroom in space?
You go very carefully. It takes some practice. But instead of gravity, we rely on airflow. So we have a vent and some with air rushing in that does what gravity does for you on the ground. But you still have to be very careful with it. And number 1 and number 2 are different because one's a liquid and one's a solid. Actually, the liquid part, we put into a machine that converts it back into our drinking water. So we're drinking some of the same drinks that the water from the same drinks that we drank a few days ago. But it's all fresh, clean water. It's a wonderful system. It's kind of amazing how well it works.
Thank you.
Tom, we only have 2 more questions, and we hope you can sort of show us that you're in zero gravity also.
Hi, my name's Melissa Stevens. I'm in 3rd grade at Cathedral School. My question is, how do you eat in space?
I think you said, how do you eat in space? Is that right?
Yeah.
So we drink out of these pouches here, and that is some drinking water here. It's nice, clean water. Came out of that machine I was talking about. So we use that water to rehydrate our food. Here, let me get this water real quick. So we can rehydrate. This is a bunch of vegetables. It's all dehydrated. Doesn't look very good. It's very crunchy. But once you put some water in it, this, I don't know if you can guess what this is. This is nice macaroni and cheese. So it's very nice once we rehydrate our food and get it going again. Some stuff we don't have to rehydrate. So we've got pouches of things like this, which is trail mix. And we also have pouches of meat that we can heat up. The food actually is wonderful up here. We've come a long ways, and we love mealtime.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Destiny McKinnon, and I'm in 6th grade, and I go to Moore Square Magnet Middle School. I want to know, how do you avoid hitting objects in space?
You know, there's a lot of talk about all of the objects in space, and there are a lot in orbit around the Earth. But space is a big place. There's a lot of space in space. So we don't have to worry about it too much. Ground control is watching it for us. There's a radar system that watches keeps track of everything bigger than a golf ball that's in orbit. So we very rarely ever see those things. If anything even seems to be coming close, they'll tell us. And if we have to, we'll move the space station a little bit to avoid it. And if we don't have time to do that, we'll even get into our little spaceship so we're nice and safe in case anything hits the space station. But there's a lot of things in place, a lot of people watching, so that won't, we don't think that'll ever happen. Well, that's a great question.
And that was our final question. So thank you very much from all of your fellow North Carolinians.
Thank you very much. It's always a delight. It's great to talk to you.
Thanks again. Say goodbye. Ooh, you can't do that down here.
Station, this is Houston ACR. Thank you. That concludes the event.
Thank you, North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences and students. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.